Welcome to the Minnesota American Legion Patriots podcast. I'm Mike Perry and got my co-host here, Kristy Janigo, and you know the convention is over. What is it, the 104th, I think, state convention? Is that what it says on there?
The 104th.
104th state convention held in Redwood Falls has completed, and of course we have new leadership coming in. We'll talk about that later on down the road, Kristy. But you know, I wanted to get your thoughts about this year's convention. I know you were running back and forth because of the Maple Grove City Days, and as a city council member, you have to be there for your constituents and everything. But while you were here, observations that you might have.
Yeah, I mean, this is my third department convention, so I feel over time I've started to understand a little bit more what happens and why we do certain things, why we give certain awards, why we have our committee meetings and go over our resolutions. So it's been kind of interesting to be on that side of it versus, you know, a few years ago when everything was new for me.
Oh, so sure.
The first year it was like drinking from a fire hose. I didn't know what was going on, you know, but yet I still had like a presentation and some duties to do that time, so I did my best. And
you know, you and I have we've had an interesting last year and coming together on the legislative committee which you chair, and I found it this year being very, very interested by people. Members, they're just clamoring all over us because of the issues that didn't get through on the legislature through this last session and everything. Attentive they were when you were up there giving your report. I along with you, heads nodding, you could see it.
Yeah. You know, I think people are really engaged, and you know, obviously we're very happy that some of the things we've been advocating for years have come to fruition. You know, in our report we talked about how now 100% disabled veterans don't have to pay for their driver's license fees and their vehicle registration. So something like that will make a huge difference, but yet there's a lot that still hasn't happened. So our post homes still pay property taxes, you know, and someone just approached me earlier today and said, well, I feel we're on the brink of losing our post, you know, so what can you do to deliver that property tax relief for our post home? You know, small things like that that don't seem that big looking in from the outside could be the difference between a post keeping their home and not.
Well, you know, the other thing, Kristy, that we became aware of when we participated in the convention legislative caucus, and we talked about resolutions that are going to be moving forward, and I found it very interesting, and of course we're going to research this. The comment that was made about 7 suicide prevention bills for veterans never even made it to a committee hearing.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because lawmakers feel that what they're doing is enough. I know that the Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs has a suicide prevention effort, suicide prevention coordinators, the federal VA out of Minneapolis, Fargo, St. Cloud, they all have suicide prevention coordinators. The American Legion has a suicide prevention coalition, but yet it's not enough, right? There are so many ways that we need to approach this, so I think we need to get really creative and take a look at those bills and what was in there and what we might push to keep moving things forward to literally save lives.
And I think we also, we talked about on that committee of looking at all of these bills that keep coming up year after year after year, and you know, to me that means they must be stagnant, that they must not have that oomph to get it across that committee table.
Yeah, I think we really just need to emphasize the why behind it. You know, what are some personal stories that we can tell? Like, how can we boil this down to like a one-line thing that is very like impactful, kind of tugs at the heartstrings, kind of tells the whole story for people to get behind it. Not a lot of people are super interested in reading long legislation that seems kind of dry, you know, not even the lawmakers themselves, even though that's what they're elected to do. So finding that story to tell, I think, is going to be key for us on any piece that we haven't seen movement on.
Well, I know legislatively, this session or this convention has really proved to me that if you can keep the information in front of membership, they get excited when they see some kind of movement, and maybe that's with any organization, when you can get the information out early enough so that they can digest it. they become involved.
Yeah, I think our platform is going to be a huge thing. So you and I talked about going through, the platform that existed for American Legion Department of Minnesota, crossing off those things that did cross the finish line, getting those off the platform, because now that they're law, we don't need to worry about them anymore. And consider what our new problems are, what ongoing things haven't been resolved, and building a platform so that we can get it out to our membership so they can engage with it, digest it, understand it, and then they're queued up to rally when we need to. And I think too, another thing that struck me was that this is a family effort. So I had a conversation with some folks from the auxiliary, from the SAL. They're interested in getting involved too. They have legislative appointees as well. So just how do we leverage more strength in our American Legion districts, at the post level, at department, and throughout the family.
Well, this is a theme, by the way, that I think is really got fired up, and it was said very, very well about the incoming commander, now Commander Mark Maloney of the 1st District at the 1st District Caucus, when he said, we are a family. And, he kind of went back and he said, Mike, 3 years ago when you were district commander, you started the ball rolling with technology. Then Mary Hansen, our past commander, came in and she worked her part. And Mark said, now for me, it's easy because I'm bringing us all together as his family, because that's how strong that we can be. And I think about the Paul Hassing, now commander. He has the same kind of philosophy. Let's work together as a family and have fun at the same time.
Yes, exactly. And, I'm having fun. I thought this convention was great fun, and I had fun preparing for it, preparing that presentation we gave, just thinking about what we've experienced these past few months on the legislative committee and, in our work across the entire organization. And I guess for me, if it weren't fun, I wouldn't be doing this.
Right.
So.
And of course, we can tell our listeners, viewers, that within the next 60 days or so, we'll probably have completed and put together the platform for the next political session that's soon to be about us. And at that time, we can start working on exactly how we get our messages out. But for sure, we're going to have some interesting things come. And speaking, as I'm transitioning now, speaking of interesting things, congratulations. What an appointment.
Yeah.
Tell us about the appointment.
Yeah, so I've been appointed as a member of the National Legislative Committee, so I'm very excited what this will bring, and it will mean me getting more engaged on a federal level. So our work at department obviously is focused on the state legislature and issues that we can control from a state and local level. So the federal will be something totally different. A lot of that has to do with the VA. Different federal legislations, and I'm personally interested in that. My day job, I'm an assistant CVSO, so I know a little bit about veteran law and about how VA benefits work, and I think that perspective will really be useful on that committee.
And what is also exciting, and we'll get him here down the road, Christopher Anderson. The three of us, along with Ray Kane, we all came together for the very first aggressive media and communications team that Teresa Ash put together. He also received a national appointment, and he's going to go with media and communications on a national level.
Yeah, in my view, it feels kind of like an alumni group, like we're alumni of the media and communications team, although Chris is still serving at the department level on that committee too. But yeah, I mean, we have a very close bond. We all became good friends very quickly because we were working together. And I love how those bonds have continued as we've kind of moved off, Ray in the DSO role, you and I on legislative, and Chris continuing on media and communications.
Right. Okay, one final thing. Kind of exciting, because you as chair this past year have always said it's a huge job for two of us, actually three, because we have to congratulate Al Lund, because he has done just a wonderful, wonderful job on the committee, and he's leaving the committee. But we have some exciting news and we're not going to say anything about it, but we've had, 3 different people come forward and say, this is a committee I really feel like I'd like to work on. So.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to having a fully engaged committee, people with different backgrounds, different experiences that we can bring together. and really bring a focused presence at the state capitol together. So, yeah, we're going to function, we're going to burn all cylinders and make a big difference this cycle.
Yeah, good. Thanks for stopping by and just kind of wrapping up this convention. It was a good one. So.
Yeah, it was.
All right, folks, that's it. You've been listening to the Minnesota American Legion Patriots podcast. Kristy Janigo, Chair of Legislative, and of course my co-host, I'm Mike Perry. And until we meet next time, remember, be the one.